Testing 1, 2, 3. Do it again. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Seems to be good. Oh, the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom, power, and glory, yours now and forever. Your Son, our Savior, who died on the cross in full payment of our sin debt, Jesus Christ. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. 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 So, we saw, Owen, please indicate if you can hear me, um, if my audio is good by 5 by 5. Teresa, you're on here, so you hear me? Fine, good. I put it to you last night. Um, the Democrats knew exactly what they were doing. Notice, as I said, Grewsum was there. And he, of course, said Biden did such a great job. Yeah. So, this way, the so called delegates were are going to do what they're going to do. Um, the thing is that this is planned. And in addition to that, this is a violation. You can see how racist the actual Democrats are, because as you and I both are American citizens, there's no question that Biden just showed us that he's non compos mentis, as we say, and thus the 25th Amendment must be invoked, and thus Harris would be the president, and thus why is none of it nobody's talking about this, and this is the way the Constitution goes. So I don't understand what's going on, but I can tell you right now, this is a violation of the Constitution. She should be president right now. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts. Okay, and yeah, so that's the way that thing goes. But you see, they're fake. The Democrats have always been racist. They've always been Jim Crow. They've always been essentially making her a slave. That's right. And thus, that's the way it needs to be. How can they put a white man? That's what's going to happen. A white man on their ticket, and then have the illegals vote for him because he's going to get up and kill Trump in a debate. Why? He's slick. He knows what to say. He knows how to lie and sell it, as he's done for the entire California governorship that he's had in his whole career. And you're going to have Grewsum and Whitless. I hate to be correct. Those 50 million migrants are going to vote, and it doesn't matter. I hope I am wrong. I really do. But that's not what I'm seeing here on Long Island. That's not what I'm seeing with everything that's been going on. No. So, and if anybody's telling you uh, John is this, that, no. Right now, he's in an entire another country, begins with a C. I won't specify what. And he's fine, but he's having medical procedures done, finishing medical procedures, or have already been done. And then he'll be leaving. You should have seen what RFK said about last night. And the thing is that this is after the man rested for an entire week. So it's right now it's so critical. It's just unbelievable. Uh it's code, dear. Add them up. It's okay. It's you didn't get it. It's unfortunately it's still YouTube. This is my first public airing in quite some time. Is my audio good, Judy? I really hope it is. Do you have any questions? Believe me, if there was a chance in anything of Trump winning, they would put him in jail and kill him. That's what they would do. Or they'll because think about who's been pulling these strings, right? Who's been doing this? And I miss you guys too. I'm very sorry, but so, but I was able to get on with difficulty. Took me what time is it now? It's almost 1 o'clock. I've been doing this, trying to get a socket since 12:15. Yeah. So at any rate, if you guys watched the debate last night, I again had very Trump should immediately has said as soon as Biden brought this whole climate thing, whatever you know that we're going to bring it, he should have said, "Excuse me, sir, President, Mr. President, um, who melted the last ice age? Was because I want to sue them. Was it Ford or Toyota? I need to know this. We need to get to the bottom of this. We need to know right away. Please answer this question: Who melted the last ice age? And by the way, who froze it? And then who did it before that? Because the scientists know that there's been at least five. And they also know that the sun output has gone up 5% in the past year, especially with the last 20 solar storms and CMEs that have hit us. And then you wonder why there's been a breakout of rain, clouds, everything else with what's been hitting us. And these are facts, you know. I mean, I'm not saying, by the way, that we shouldn't get off oil. As I've said a million times, we should because it's inefficient and it costs too much. However, we should use everything we have underneath us while we search for the Holy Grail, which is room temperature superconductivity. And by the way, Joe, I between MIT and Caltech, they got it up to liquid nitrogen temperatures, and you day one as long as the other things you canceled that. Why would you cancel such a program when they were so close to coming up with 100% efficiency electrical energy? I mean, with that kind of stupid connectivity, you could capture a bolt of lightning and store it. These are the things that if I was on stage, and we wrote also, Mr. Trump, he knows this. He also knows the criticality of a Carrington event, as I've said a gabillion times, hitting the earth, which is going to affect everybody. It's going to put us back into the 18th century as far as tech. No. So I was not impressed. I repeat, I was not impressed by Trump's performance. His performance was adequate, but it was stupid. Focusing on the same things instead of focusing on the fact that we, Vice President Harris, you're here. I think that it's my duty as an American citizen to specifically call upon the 25th Amendment. We, all of us, have this right, by the way, and it has to be verified by somebody in the um, one of the Secretary of State, and her, and immediately it should have been she should have been sworn in by the Chief Justice as the 47th President of the United States. This should have been done. If this is the way Biden, it should have been done a long time ago. And instead, she's as a slave, she's vocalizing the greatness of how well Biden did. And I'm like, even Vanna Jones, I was in pain watching this. Why was I in pain? Because it's the president, it's my president of the United States. What do you think our enemies? What do you think China? What do you think North Korea? What do you think our enemies are saying today? They're certainly not saying, well, Joe is alive and well. No. By the way, Max is getting along great with my Bombay cats, and they are getting bigger, and they are um, different than any of the cats we've ever had. They're very smart. They know how to fetch. They they're very different. It's amazing how they've lived up to their name. One guy is Inky, and the other guy is Pogo, and they both can't wait to try to get outside. But unfortunately, we have eagles. We have eagles here, and the eagles will kill them. We have owls here. The owls will kill them. So no outside for them. And yeah. Are there any questions? How's my family doing, Tara? Very well. Um, my sons are doing very well. They're safe. Uh, yeah. My my mother is in a home, not by my choosing. My sister did this. My mother gave her power of attorney. My mother gave her the rights to everything, and unfortunately, there it is. And no matter how much I've tried to bring her to God, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And that's the way it is. Myself, I have been unfortunately passing um, kidney stones, the last fragments of the last one. So as I've been a bit under the weather, and I'm a little bloated today because I've been drinking water like it's my job, and then some, and taking these pills. No big deal. It's um it's a side effect, the bloatiness, but it makes you pee like ridiculous and makes you thirsty. So um it's okay. But kidney stones are they're very, 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 very painful. Very, very painful indeed. So and uh I make a joke. I say, if you want to have world peace, somebody invent a kidney stone gun because it's. Oh, I'm very sorry to hear that, Teresa. I unfortunately went through that as well. It was it was difficult, but if I didn't, I wouldn't have. I met my maker. He told me to start this channel and talk about what I saw, and I'm very sorry about that. I hope you're getting better. I had, excuse me, unbelievable help from my wife, and then I had, I, I call them Nazi affiliated physical therapists, and they did a great job. So, and the guy upstairs, the miracle that he gave me. So we will. Let's all say a prayer for Teresa. God, please lay your hand down on her and repair everything and show everybody how wonderful your power is and your grace. In your son's name I pray. Jesus Christ. Amen. You want another one? It's the last one. Okay? The last one. All right? You want it now? All right. The Bonaholic. And we have at least two people. So there you go. So you're gonna be fine. And everything's gonna be, and believe, accept the healing. That's the thing that a lot of people don't do. They don't understand that you have to accept his grace. And believe me, I was blind, I was paralyzed, a whole bunch of things, and I accepted his grace and his wonderfulness, and yeah, it's it's just very, very special when he gives you such a blessing. It's just amazing, and you feel not worthy, but don't, because he created you and you are worthy of that blessing. And you show his glory when he does that to you. And amen for that. Anybody else see the catastrophe? Then you have to say to yourself, really? I mean, you saw. I'm fully convinced his wife is a CIA operator, because did you see that after thing and how she had to help him off the stage, and then how she said how great he was and everything else. Um, every single commentator and even Democrats that I know of, they saw that, and they were like in shock. You know why they were in shock? Because the media has been covering for him for the past 2 years. So yeah, I've been under attack in more ways than you can imagine. So like I said, I'm always going to tell you the truth. And unfortunately, I I don't see how Trump is going to overcome, or the Republicans are going to overcome, all these votes that are going to be cast, which are from illegal ballots. I just don't see how that's going to happen, and I wish I was wrong. I really do. But again, you after you see the delegation, there'll be another debate, and this was all forecast because of the entry of the laptop in evidence, and nobody's accounting for that. Nobody's saying, "Hey, there was 51 to tell." All this, nobody's saying it. So it's all coming out. The laptop is coming out. So the problem is that the last time Trump was elected, he did not do what I wanted. He did not listen to us, because if he did, Hillary would be in jail. John would have been the AG, and all the secrets and things would have came out, and he would have been allowed to do what he wanted to do. And even if there was be a one-term president, fine. Believe me, John and his daughter or somebody else could have taken the reins. I mean, but that's not going to happen. And I don't see how anything is going to be different than 2020. I hope that I'm wrong. I really do, but I just don't see how it's going to change. I really I hope I'm wrong. I pray to God I'm wrong, but the election, the whole voting system should be changed with an ATM type system, and that's it. So, and if anybody says that it's racist or whatever, everybody knows how to use an ATM. And believe me, I go to the casino, which is the only place that I find safe, by the way. Jake's 58, great restaurant, fantastic food, and cheap. Anyway, and while I'm cashing my ticket, because that's how it works, you put your money in and then it prints a ticket. Um, these people are using the ATM. Yeah, which is very sad because my wife and I go there with a specific budget, and that's it. We enjoy it, we have a fun time, and everything else. And these people, it's what it is. But there's security there. Our car, we valet our car so that it's secure. It looks like we're the only people who tip, because everybody tries to fight to serve us in every way, shape, and form. My wife has fans, of course. Um, yeah, and we have a good time going there today. Yeah, good faith, absolutely. Um, I mean, that's why Gruesome was there. There's no question that Gruesome knows the truth, and Gruesome. But you see, Gruesome is going to. Well, if you insist, he's going to do one of those numbers. Well, if you insist. Okay. Now, meanwhile, everybody should know. I'm telling you right now, we have a constitution. If we don't have a constitution, then Harris is not vice president and president, which she's not. Think about that. But everybody should be saying, and every single commentator, even Van Jones should have been saying, how come Van Jones didn't say, hey, what about the 25th? This guy is non compos mentis. There's no question. How come that's not talked about? And then he's talking about all these other things. Well, we're just going to give the blacks easy loans and stuff. Excuse me, you're going to do what? What about the 14th Amendment? The 14th Amendment that specifically states that you're not going to give somebody a specific advantage or disadvantage based on their race or religion. As I've stated, okay, the adaptions to the human being of the slippery nature is because of the geographic area that they grew up in through thousands of years. Look at the Eskimos. Look at the American Indians. Look at the Polynesians. Look at the Russians. Look at the Norwegians. You're not going to have people spend calories, energy on the manufacture of melanin when they need to have less of it in order to produce the proper amount of vitamin D to help their immune system, stop them from getting rickets, all kinds of things. I mean, this is something substantial. If you take a white person and you put them into the tropics of cancer between those two things, and they don't have sunscreen, like, they're gonna have cancer. But same regard. If you take a black person and you move them north of the 40 latitude, they're gonna have vitamin D shortages. They're gonna have rickets. They're gonna have problems, and they do not have enough fat in their outer layer of their epidermis to where that they're going to have hyperthermia and other kind of problems adjusting their temperature. I mean, you have Eskimos that can eat a polar bear's liver, which is toxic to 99.9% of the population of the entire planet. And when I mean toxic, I mean it'll kill you. Won't kill them. Their eyeballs don't freeze in minus 70 degrees because they have brown fat in their eyelids. It doesn't, they're part of the Homo sapiens species. Everybody has specialities and everybody's been adapted to thrive, and that's part of the genius. But the reality is that that doesn't mean they don't have the right to have the same rights you and I have. Just because they're different. Everybody's different. Even identical twins are different. Everybody is different. Everybody is a snowflake. That's why abortion is so absolutely horrible. And I put it to you, it's been a genocide on the African American race. They killed 12.5 billion black babies since 1973. And if you look up who is in charge of the Planned Parenthood, Nazis. Yeah. How many George Washington Carvers did they kill? How many Einsteins did they kill? How many Pasteurs did they kill? Think about it. How many Holly Berries? How many whoever? It's a dice roll every single time, and everybody is special. Everybody is unique. That will never be created. And then how many by killing these female people, how many people did they kill by killing them? How many eggs did they kill? And men, how many sperm? I mean, it goes on. This is why abortion should only be done in, yes, I'm going to say this incest. There's no question that these types of things and the health of the mother, no question. Okay. That's where I differ on a lot of people. Um, and why? Why do I differ? If the woman wants to keep, but every single time she looks at that child, she's going to see that horror show, that rape, and everything else. And it's like I was so horrified with these things that have been going on with these, and how that girl was fighting back. They found tooth marks, and she really truly suffered for an hour having them take turns on her. Horrible, horrible things. And I was just praying that God just put a bot in or something and took her out so that she wouldn't have to suffer that. I mean, and saying it's an insult to animals, they're not. They're demons and monsters. That's what they are. Because and this Brandon administration has not picked up the phone even and contacted any of them. And then he has the gall to talk about drugs and everything else and how he's killed 200,000 American citizens with the border and the fentanyl and everything else that's coming through. And here on Long Island, I have shootings every night. I have home invasions. I have gang tags. I have no cops. Um, your car is, if you don't lock your car up and put it away, the cats will be stolen off of it. They brazen. They'll do anything. They know that you're unarmed, and they don't care. Look what they do to cops. Look what they do to armed cops. And then this governor and the mayor and they let them out. There is no law here in New York State. Okay, does not exist. And what the bar has done, and what this judge has done, what this DA has done by making Trump a 37 count felon out of a misdemeanor charge is such. It's just made us the we're now, we are the my cousin Vinny, not the South. We are. We have no law here at all. It's it's beyond terrible. And then they attack people like myself. Um they make it very difficult to do things. And yet we're paying the most in everything. Inflation is seeing that I mean, $9 for a gallon of milk, $14 for a dozen eggs. Myself and my wife, just to feed us, is $500 to $600 a week. When we go to the casino, we get um, free comps, and so I end up. What costs me is the tip. I tip $40, and that's what I end up paying for my meal. And I don't mind doing it because they wait on us very well. They um, they're very kind to us, They give us great service. They make my wife happy, make me happy, and we're going there today. And if you're ever in Jake's in Long Island, stay at Jake's 58. It's a very secure. It used to be a what's that? A Marriott hotel. Great food, great breakfast, great people, clean rooms, unbelievable. And it's literally 5 minutes, 10 minutes from my house. So it's really great. Are there any questions? Yes, I gained some weight of this last month. I gained about 25 pounds because of these stupid stones. Wasn't able to do anything. Um, Very uncomfortable, to say the least. But I'm better now, and they're just cleaning out. The stuff that's left is like pepper, so I'm just cleaning that out. Um, this I don't can't pronounce this drug that they gave me. It's like a Flomax thing. It makes you very thirsty and makes you. Um, I have to hold it in. That's the other thing. They don't want me to pee until I can't stand it. I have to run. Otherwise, you're like a little kid. But I understand why they're saying that. Ah, I have finally let my switch went. I had a switch in my server rack downstairs, so I had to order another one, and it took unbelievable amount of time to get it from eBay. Even at eBay, used price, it was still $1,500. Because I use gigabit switches. Big. For my network. It's Thank you, Grace. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, people. This is, of course, still a demonetized channel. You can join my Patreon. I've still been posting on my Patreon. I've still been putting different things up about stuff and specifically what's been going on the inside. But yeah, it's a beautiful day out. But I will tell you that and it's amazing because everybody here. But again, I talk to different people in my wife's law office, and they're just they hear no other, see no other, and they're like that meme. They're like the players in a game. Geesh. I've been taking it's been yeah, make my own salsa, and I add lemon juice to it, and then I drink that. So I drink one of those. That I do in a whole thing. I take one 14-ounce glass of it, and I drink one of those, and then I chase it with this. So I drink one of these every hour. Oof, a lot of fluid. Um, I guess the good thing is I have I have no desire to eat. I'm kind of my I have to go all the time, but that's a sensational thing. But you have to hold it. You're not allowed to. You got to try to hold it to where you're gonna have an accident. You're like a little kid, shaking back and forth. But it's kind of good because then when these little grains come out, they don't really bother you as much. So yeah, they're black. their calcium oxalate, uh, carbon oxide. It's a you know, I wish it was diamonds, but then I'd feel better about it because but no, worthless pieces of crap, and they just give you pain, and yeah, it's what it is. Anybody have any questions? Can you guys comment about what you saw last night? This is what I saw. This is the first 10 minutes. I have no idea what he was on, by the way. John's not gonna ever come back. There's a rift there, big time. Um, so yeah, that's at least what I. But right now he's getting medical stuff done, or he should be done with the medical stuff. But then he'll be off to the islands in Panama and whatnot, and he's got a beautiful boat with a 10,000-watt solar system on it, and very into his grandkids. And oh yeah, mine was 9 millimeters and six, and they broke up. With the lithotripsy. I don't know if you're familiar with that. They put you into this pool with these pads, and it feels like Mike Tyson is having a go at your back. I guess these that gives my age, but um, my back was killing me for. I mean, really, really hurting for about a month and a half after that. It's it's not it's like I said, they invent the kidney stone gun. That's it. It's one piece. So I don't. My last MRI and CAT scan showed that they're out. There's no more left in the kid. This is all from 3 years ago, by the way. I had a side effect from blood pressure medicines that I was taking, and that's what caused these stones. So yeah. um, well, Ben is extremely smart. There's no question about it. I just don't. I hope I'm wrong. Like I said, I really, really, really hope I'm wrong. But uh, I think that it'll be gruesome and witless. He'll lie like the next debate. He'll just lie, just like Biden was. Nobody was calling him on it. CNN was not. Everybody was saying, "Oh, CNN just as fair." What? The inflation was not 9% when Biden took office. The 14 million jobs that came back were just the bounce back, which was on the way with the economy. None of these things were true, and they just let it go. So I don't see what kind of job. Believe me, if Trump was saying things that were just totally made up like that, they would have called him on it. They didn't turn around and say, "Well, we're really sorry, uh, President Trump, about the Russia, Russia, Russia." And obviously, that we fell for that mistake. Did they say this? Did they give a retraction for anything like that? Yes, exactly. Good faith is exactly right. The day of the election, when he was there with his wife, they should have came down and everything would have been revealed. That's how you make them safe. Everything else, the whole I can't even say it. Quebec plot. Okay, but one letter. First letter. I didn't agree with it. I didn't think it was. It was just stupid. And then it's just like Howard Hughes. Then what you do is you have fake people, fake wands that say that they're JR when they're not. And then they take advantage of people like they did. YouTubers who took advantage of people. And they have all the popularity. Their channels didn't get cut. Ah, their videos and thousands of hours worth of time and work. Who my stuff is got it's on my Odyssey page, which I pay for. That's based on a cyber currency that I started, so nobody can touch it, but it's not free. And yet all my videos are there. The truth is there if you want to see it. I've only had a dozen to 2 dozen people look at the stuff and still there. It's because you don't want to know the truth. But unfortunately, you have to learn the truth in order to fundamentally make a change and make an assessment to make a change. And if people got together and did that and got through this BS, I like I said, I hope I'm wrong. I mean, there's this other YouTube guy. He's talking about Michelle, right? Michael. But you and I know that that's not going to happen. Okay. Same problem. So again, a white man. Think about it. It's divide and conquer. Okay. There should be a person who's not an American and then a person who is an American. And if you're an American, I don't give a damn if you're plebe, chartreuse, polka dot, doesn't matter. You're an American. Period. It's what's inside that matters. It has nothing to do with whatever you look like, how you talk. No. Everybody. Everybody is special. I don't have any more. You ate them all. I told you I only had three. I only had three. My boneaholic dog wants more bones, but he's on a diet. He gained 5 pounds because he's been getting into the cat food. Had cat food high and away. He's like, "Oh, these cats are great. I get to eat the. I get another. I get to eat food." He gets along great with the cats. It's gonna this whole thing was planned. They had to know this. That thing that you put on last night. This was known. This is a known thing. They knew this was going to happen. And I like I said, I don't think that Grewsum was there by chance. He was not. So I think it'll be the delegates. I don't think there'll be the thing you'll see Grewsum and Whitless. And that's I stand I said this last year. You know, they took it down, but I did say it last. It's on my Odyssey. No, as far as no, I think it'll either be, believe it or not, it'll either be Scott or it'll be the doctor. it's going to be something that's going to counter the image. It's all about image, unfortunately, and it shouldn't be. Now, as far as the doctor, I mean, he's a neurosurgeon. I mean, so y- y- people understand he's a published scientist. Besides being a doctor, he's published. Okay, in many publications in scientific journals like Nature and other places. So people have no idea. I mean, yeah, I don't understand why Trump put him in housing or something. It's just you put somebody like that into an area and field that's scientific with medical knowledge and things like this. Believe me, Fauci should not have been. It should all been going down to uh, Ben and the doctor. He's he's a doctor. He knew that these masks were worthless. He knew that 6 feet standing apart was absolutely ludicrous and worthless. I mean, it's just stupid. And he also knew that the UV rays of the sun, UV specific, UVA, UVB, kill this virus. It's like walking into a nuclear reactor. Okay. He also understands that this virus was 305 to nanometers. Okay. So, and it was airborne. It was, yeah. So, yeah. And there was a way to deal with this on a technology basis to which that there are LEDs with very low power consumption that could have been used to sterilize a lot of air through HVAC systems and sterilize items and handle it that way. Okay. um, and not specifically handle it. If somebody wants to take a vaccine, fine, but nothing mandatory. And again, the herd immunity and the person's immunity. A lot of people were exposed to it, and they didn't get it, or they got a mild version. I I I just it was just like a bad head cold for myself. Versus my wife, she got it worse. We both had the vaccine, and she got sick with it twice. I I It should have hit me theoretically worse because I'm fatter. And she's a size 6 and incredible shape and does yoga. So I I don't know. So I mean, thank God. We both had people, friends of ours, that died from it. I definitely think that it was worse than it could have been, and thank God that he stopped people from coming here from China and other places, but it wasn't stopped enough. It wasn't stopped fast enough. Um, I definitely think it's uh, was on purpose, no question about it. And I think that it did what it was supposed to do, which was put Brandon in power. So that's my opinion. That's what I believe. Not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's how I see it. I I think that there's a tremendous amount of Satanism throughout this country, and they're instead of hiding it, they're flaunting it. There's no question That's since '47 we've been in the end times, but from 2012 to now, it's just. I mean, if God was like did to me like He did to John and showed me now and back in 2006, I would be it would be incomprehensible. In my state, it is now the law that there are 83 sexes and pronouns and flags that are so called recognized. And yet, I have no idea how to distinguish that. As I've showed you in the past, um, I know how to see if this is real silver. Okay. I understand the atomic structure of it. I understand the uses of it. I understand the um, the manufacture of this specific ounce of silver, and there are tests that I can do as a scientific test to show that it is silver. There are none for these things. Okay, and I'm I'm not saying everybody has the right to call himself a daisy if they want, but to impose that on somebody else and say, well, that's a daisy, and you have to give them the rights of a daisy, and you have to treat them like a daisy, and they want to be watered like a daisy, and everything. And you're obviously they're not a daisy. Okay. That's I have a problem with that. I I have a problem with it because it's not reality. It's whatever it is. You know, I tell the joke. I went to my bank and I identified myself as Elon Musk, but yet they wouldn't give me $150 million. I felt like Elon Musk, and it goes for everything. You know, like a person who's not up to a specific height and weight for a specific ride. Those are the regulations, and they can't go on that ride. They can't say, "Well, I feel like I'm 5'3" today," and if it's just like it's like a 14-year-old walking into a bar and saying, "Well, I identify as a 21-year-old. Give me a beer." There is no difference. There is absolutely no difference. He's not 21 years old. Why is it good to push the law and the terms and reality on something like that, but it just stops for something else? I can't wrap my head around it. Yeah, well, because who is in charge right now? The chief criminal organization is in charge. There's no question. So, who's been benefiting? All the criminal organizations everywhere have been benefiting tremendously. I myself have seen the MS-13s, the Kings, the Latin Kings, and now this new Venezuela thing here on Long Island, the city, and there are places now that are literally no go zones, even in broad daylight. You can't go to the South Shore in some areas, and you can't even think about going into the city in some areas. Even if I had a SEAL team, I wouldn't feel safe. Okay, I'm not kidding. Okay, forget about and like Broadway, there's 15 blocks. You notice we put my pay 15 blocks of stores that are closed on Broadway, and it looks to me permanently. You know, they can't handle the thievery, and I mean, my mall here, half the malls is been converted over to Stony Brook Medical. J.C. Penney's gone. Macy's is just about gone. All these other stores gone. Why? Because you can't stop thieves. There is no punishment for it. So why, and you see that they just walk in with back, they just load shit up. They just, well, we're just doing this, and they do it in King Cullen down there. King Cullen's going to be gone soon. Everything when you go into a King Cullen, half the items are behind plexiglass. They have security guards at my pharmacy. It's unbelievable. So I mean, what is the retail supposed to do then? Because they can't sell the items because they can't stop the thievery. This is, and it's in everything. And meanwhile, a gallon of gas here is $4 a gallon. Oh, forget about it. The kind of gas that my wife has, it's $6 a gallon. Diesel is five something. I mean, it's just like it's unbelievable. This you know this whole conviction and everything. The Supreme Court should have stepped in immediately. The New York bar should have stepped in immediately. This whole thing, that person, that judge, conflict, the conflict. I mean, all these things. This person, it doesn't matter whether you like or love or hate. This is not. This was not presumed. That this was finding. There was no statute that was defined. There was there was no even in the end. They're going. Gee, mark my words. They're going to try to put him in jail. I have an old guy. He was a gun club membership guy. Somebody broke in his house. He killed them. They took away everything he had and they threw him in jail. Meanwhile, he was defending himself and stopping his poor old wife, and now the guy's in jail. This is the reality of the state. This is what goes on here. I mean, it could be a Bulgarian. They had a guy who was a he was from not Haiti, but the other island. Anyway, he was right. He defended himself. He took the knife and he actually stabbed the intruder with his own knife, and this DA put him in jail. My friends in Pennsylvania tell me it's insane in Pittsburgh. Insane in Pittsburgh. Every single blue city is insane. Is freaking insane. The same thing in every single. They are robbing the train. The trains can't even ship goods through these areas now. Like here in Long Island, they stopped a freight train and they just ransacked it and took everything. They do it with trucks. They do it. There is no law here, none. And in any of these 14 cities, big cities that are controlled, there is no law. It's just chaos. And you haven't seen. We are in a recession. As I told you, we are going to be in a Great Depression, like anything. You can't even believe it. And believe me, I pray and I hope to God that Trump gets elected and somehow God puts his thumb on this whole thing and stops it from happening because that's the only way. that this is going to curtail. But if not, we lost the republic in 2020. There's no question. There's no question. And these corporate theocracy things. Notice the 12 companies that were in that thing with Obama in 2014. They have all gotten over $1 trillion in market cap. They are all $1 trillion companies, all of them. How did that happen? Think about it. And Trump has let me down on many occasions because, again, the obvious has not been cited. Al Gore specifically stated that the elbow of the Statue of Liberty in 2018, he did this in 2003, was going to be touching the water. And then later on last year, 4 years, 5 years ago, said there was going to be no ice caps. There is more ice now than there's ever been in the past 50 years. And we are going into an ice age, not the other way around. Okay? That's right. That's how it works. We're going into an ice age. And if Nixon was doing his job, he would have put a laser beam on room temperature superconductivity back in 73. And instead, now, as of June 9th, there is no more petrodollar, which means you haven't seen anything. Anything as far as you think you've seen the inflation, you haven't seen squat. Okay. Because the dollar is now funny money and everybody's getting out of it and nobody has to use it to buy oil or anything. There's trillions and trillions and trillions of pieces of worthless paper. Oh, but nobody wants to hear this. Nobody wants to hear the truth. Nobody wants to hear the truth. But the thing is, you can't eat this. You can't do it. And as I always said, energy is the real money. Whether it's food or fuel, energy is the real money. Believe me, if we would have had superconductivity in 87, everything would be different. We'd be not only on the moon with a base, we'd have a ring around the planet, we'd have people on Mars, people on the outer rim mining asteroids and going there with ships and moving them into planetary orbit to mine them. We'd have mines on different moons of Jupiter. Everything would be different. Okay. Instead of spending this $195 trillion on killing each other, they would have spent that same amount of money on constructive exploration of space and becoming an interplanetary species and inter solar system species. We would have became a type 1 civilization. But there was no vision. None. And it really bugs me because it's a sin. God gives you an opportunity, He gives you talents, He gives you the ability to see things for a reason. And it's up to you to make these things work. And yes, I haven't gotten any help at all. And yes, I'm still working on my photon processor. And yes, I've hit a problem with thermal coupling, rejection, everything else. I worked out the synchronization thing. Now my problem is trying to figure out a way to get rid of the heat. Um, so I haven't figured that out, but still working on it. Have not given up hope. If anybody knows about how to get heat away from something that's in a specific vacuum, let me know. Are there any more questions? Any other topics that you want answered? Do you notice how the Soho has gone down on yeah? As soon as there's some kind of what, they shut it down. Yeah, nobody's talking about the sun. Nobody. There's only one other person who's talking about the sun. That's called the YouTube channel Suspicious Observations. He's the only one. Ben is he's he's the only one, and yeah, he's had to cut his show down to less than 5 minutes a day. But if you want to know about what the space weather is and how it really affects the climate and how cosmic rays and different types of things actually, yeah, he's the one to go to. He knows more about it than any person on the planet. Definitely. Sky Skull is another one. uh, that he really knows his stuff. That I I just I just know computers and lasers and things like that. I don't really, that's my niche. Other than that, my wife kind of covers a lot. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's got a big oil. Does shows, does things. Yeah, believe it or not, he's a lawyer. So I don't know what kind of lawyer he was, but and he does not have a he has a JD, but it does not have a doctor in his field. But I don't care. He's definitely educated himself and had enough experts in the field and gone through enough specific papers to become an expert in that field. No question. I asked already. I have to look at what you're saying. Concerns attempting Trump. I hope, like I said, I hope and pray that Trump will be the next president. I really do. Um, but if he's going to make the same mistakes he made last time, and he made a lot of mistakes, because look at the people he surrounded himself. He did it again with these lawyers. My wife said he had the worst legal representation she's ever seen, and they made very bad mistakes. Mistakes that on the thing that should have been noted for appeal, and they weren't. Um, she said to me, because she knows people, she said, "Yeah, all you have to do is tell Trump he's smarter than everybody, and he's great and fantastic, and boom, he doesn't want to hear the truth." I had um, Mick Jagger and Keith Richards begged me to go on tour with them in '95 and stuff because I was the only one that didn't have my glued to their butts, and I was telling them the truth. Um, and I happen to be very good at what I do, but the thing is that my said no, I can't. I have a 3-year old and an 8. They need me. My sons need me, and it's more important that I'm here than you know going away. Certainly, I could have gone away, and it wouldn't be shirking my responsibilities. I mean, boy, you know, you but I knew that there were things that I did that, no offense to my wife, that she did not do very well. Okay, and it's not a fault to her. I think it's of the species. Um, no offense, but men do not have tits. I mean, so we say no. It's hard for women to say no as we say no. And I can't tell you how many times women say, "Wait till your father comes home." So it is often through the childhood of our sons. I mean, it's even Second Corinthians that if you don't do this, you bastardize the children. So you have to be unpopular. You have to say no. You have to hold that. And if you don't, you're not doing the proper parental job and you're not um, doing what you're supposed to do. So that's how I see it. Um, that can cause conflicts in the future. Now, I would not have been shirking my husband duties by going away and only coming home for holidays and everything else because the Stones were then on tour basically and doing other things. I don't know, next 10, 12 years easy. And, when yeah, um, I didn't. I felt it was more important to be here and to be home every day at 4 o'clock for my sons to come home and to make sure that was me. That was when I was handed them when I was when they were born. That's the responsibility that I took on. I'm voting for Trump. I unfortunately feel that there's going to be at least a million people in this state that are going to vote for whoever the ticket is for the Democrats, and they're not, I repeat, not legal citizens. And I feel, unfortunately, that's going to be the case throughout the country in a lot of swing states and a lot of areas. And there's definitely that's their agenda. There's no question that they've opened the borders and brought these people in specifically and handed out pamphlets that specifically say that to do that. So I pray to God that somehow He will right this somehow. But I don't. I'm going to vote. I'm going to tell people to vote. I'm going to tell everybody to vote. But I just like I did with Zeldin, I feel my vote is going to be wasted. There is no freaking way that Hunkel won this election by 804,000 votes when I went high and low in the state and all I saw was signs for Zeldin. Yeah. And I happen to know that the population of illegals in this state is almost 12 million in my state. And these Democrats make no bones about it. They don't care. Schumer does not care. They can't wait to make all these people legal, and they're doing everything they can to make them legal. And if they're not, doesn't matter. They'll find a way. And this is a problem. It's a problem. because everybody who has served in one way or another, it's a disgrace to them, to their what happened. I mean, when and that's the other thing. Last night, Trump should have pounced on that, where he said, "No, nobody, no Americans got killed." Uh, excuse me, the Afghanistan thing, and he did say this, but he should have really focused on it. He should have focused on the fact that there were 13 mothers and fathers that lost their sons and daughters. But not only that, all the blood and treasure for the past 20 years were lost for nothing. Nothing. My son's graduation from the academy, 6 of those in this picture for a wedding are dead. They're dead. And this president made their sacrifice absolutely worthless. Not to mention the American citizens that were left behind, not to mention the American citizens who've been kidnapped by the Hamas, who nobody's lifting a finger for in this administration. And how come? Because he gave Iran $8 billion. Hello? Is anybody saying anything? And yes, it speaks volumes to me because supposedly he was born again in 2012. I'm talking about Trump. You think that he would have learned to not think about his penis anymore. That's why his wife has not been there for any of this. You think she needed this? His wife is like my wife. She's cut from the same cloth. Very smart woman, very beautiful woman, very a millionaire on her own. Humiliation, incredible humiliation. I mean, I can only imagine that vulnerability. What a so fine. He's so cold. Didn't do stomach. Yeah, who? Okay, give me a break. Oh, I don't know who was. I mean, what kind of drug he was on? Did you see those eyes last night? I can't do that. I can't hold my eyes open for literally 5 to 6 minutes without blinking, without them burning like crazy. You watch it, yeah, like that. It was like he was reading something too. Did you notice that? So I don't know, but as an American, I was very, very in pain last night because I saw what our enemies see, and what I see is every single American has now got a target on their back. You, me, especially our service people, all of them, no matter where they are. And there's nothing that's going to stop these people. And Nivea, who just became worth more than anybody, any company, it's in Taiwan. They're the ones that hold this 5 nanometer AI technology. They're the ones that are making these unbelievable chips that are faster than quantum computers. that have been pushing all and building all these racks for these AI servers and everything. That's the company's been doing it. You could look at them as Cisco in 1990. Okay, what was Cisco doing? Cisco was making switches, web switches. The Ethernet runs on that. Think of a connection um, like water, and then the water has different colors and boats in it. So now the switch basically says, "Oh, you get the blue boats. Those are the data packets that are blue," and yeah, that's how it works. Now, most of you are using Wi-Fi. It's just an RF version of that, but it goes through a Wi-Fi router and it disseminates your communication through the same type of thing. You get a specific address on your computer. That's like that little boat or packet underneath that specific color. Okay. Cisco did all that. Where are they now? Just like this company, but I think this company is going to see tremendous competitors in the field. Micromat. There's a couple others. There's some that are U.S. based that are out of Texas, Houston, Texas. So because they're using a new, um, it's a specific. They're using, believe it or not, quantum tunneling. It's a quantum tunneling effect that happens. It's a very elaborate thing, but they've been working on it now for 7 years, and the breakthrough that they're going to make is going to be tremendous. Right? And then they'll be able to scale it and multiply it. It still won't be anything near what I'm doing with the photons because photons are, you don't have limitations, and it still is quantum. But again, I'm having cooling problems. So, and I don't know enough about um, I'll put it in terms of heat rejection, and there's a lot of thermodynamics that I don't quite understand. It's complicated, but um, it's still photon computers. Still, that's one of the fundamental holy grails of tech, and there'll be no substitution for that because once you have that, there's no specific size limitation to the specific CPU because from the time that it's turned on, it's quantum linked to every node from now until the end of time. That's partly why it's so fantastic. Um, but you know, problems. Well, if you notice if I don't know if anybody told you about this, your birth certificate, the font that's used, and the numbers that are on there, that's basically a security. Essentially, you are a slave when you're born. It's the truth. And the Fed was just hacked. The Russians got 3 terabytes of data from them. I don't know what they're going to do with it. It's like hacking into the Monopoly box. So, so yeah, the only thing that's giving the dollar any worth at all is our Constitution. Which, if ours is not the president, we don't have a Constitution. then you have to think who is in charge, who's been pulling these strings, and how can they just make up their own rules on the fly? So then you have some serious. I mean, everybody in Congress, every single representative we have, they should be calling 25th. Hello, and I mean, every woman, every I say human because every American citizen should be saying, "Hey, we either have a constitution or we don't. If we don't have a constitution, then Harris is VP and she's a slave, essentially. If we have a constitution, then she's sworn in literally tomorrow because we do not have a president. I do not know who the president is, but we certainly he hasn't been president. So somebody's pulling the strings, somebody's making decisions, somebody's controlling who's got who's holding the case, who's got the finger on the button. That would be a very good question I would want to ask. Yeah, I wish that was true. Blossom Bottom, it's not. Um, as I said a million times, and I was the only one speaking the truth. And the only reason why I knew this was because my son and others that I know, the ROEs changed. January 20th, the ROEs changed. If Trump was in so-called charge and it was a fake White House, whatever, the ROEs, that's rules of engagement, would not, I repeat, not have changed. They have changed. Okay. We just had our carrier group locked off and turned around from the South China Sea. Philippines is at risk. Taiwan is gone. Okay. It's just a matter of days before China decides to circle them and take them over a certain way. And but China wants the Philippines. China wants New Guinea. China wants Australia. China wants all those things you saw Japan wanting. That's what China wants, and they want it for a reason. And you have to say to yourself, who are these 150,000 Chinese that have come into this country since November, who obviously have the CCPs? Well, what are they doing? Where did they go? And how are these people allowed to buy American land and anything near bases and everything else? The envelopes. So then, who's in charge? Is it so-called Jill, the so-called doctor? I'd like to see her thesis. There is no thesis. Yeah. What? Yeah. So I mean, we're in big trouble, people. And I'm not. And nobody addressed the sun last night. Nobody. Nobody said hello. Uh, everybody, stop. Okay. Last month we missed a Carrington event by 9 days. The last time that happened was in 1859. It will plunge the entire planet. That's all nations of the world back into the 18th century in tech. How come we're not talking about this? Joe, what are you doing? He could say, Mr. President, what are you doing? Commentators, what are you doing? Did anybody say that? The magnetic field has decreased by 37% in the past 100 years. And it's going fast. Runway numbers are changing. The planet magnetic poles are getting ready to flip, and they've been The southern anomaly is growing. Was that speech done last night? Did he say this? That's the real crisis to the planet. That's the real crisis to the climate. That's the real crisis to you and I and how we deal, how we live. It's not nobody dealt with it. Nobody talked about it. He says, "We want really clean water. We want really clean air. We want really clean this." Hello? You're not going to have clean anything. You're going to have 90 billion people die. Or 9 billion. I don't know what the population. 90% of the population of the planet is going to die because they'll die from famine. They won't be able to get fed. Look, I have everything set up. Okay. I'm ready. You people know on my Patreon thing, I have made arrangements. All you have to do is come to Vermont. Yeah. So there's food, there's fish, and there's water. And then the winter will be brutal and it's good. Why? Because you're going to need that 20 to 50 feet of snow to keep away bad people, unfortunately. That's what it is. Because like it's here now, these 75, 80 IQ people, they only know one thing: take, steal. That's all they know. They don't know anything. They don't know morals. They do not know God. They don't know anything. They know me, myself, and I. That's all they know. They litter. There's diapers everywhere. There's trash everywhere. It's unbelievable. You drive down the roads. It's just garbage, just thrown out of windows. It's horrible. It's horrible. I haven't seen this much trash on the Long Island Expressway since 1965. Why not litter? They're doing anything. When you come into a country illegally and you're breaking the law and lines don't apply to you. Why should I wait in this line? Why should I pay for this? I don't need to do it. I'll just take it. Yep, that's what they do. They just take it. They just walk in and they take it. And anyway, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Good faith, please call me after this show. Are there any more questions? Any more questions about anything? I'll answer anything. I'll just be they'll just shut my channel down again. It's probably gonna they're gonna probably take this off. It'll be found in my Odyssey page because I'm saying something. I'm not I believe everybody, no matter who they are, have a right to do anything they want except hurt others. Period. But if they want to jump up and down, who would say whatever? Fine. They're not going to tell me it's wrong to read my Bible. Okay? They're not going to tell me it's wrong that I can't, you know, read John. Okay? How can I know if my worship pleases God? Many ask, how do I know if the way I am worshiping God pleases God? Scripture gives us few specific guidelines other than the Old Testament regulations for Mosaic sacrificial social systems. But remember, at all times, God looks at the heart of the worshiper. He sees and hears, believe me, I know this, sees and hears everything that you're doing. Jesus tells us, but the hour is coming, and now is when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and truth. For the Father is seeking such to worship him. God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship in spirit and truth. By the way, that's John 4:23 through 24. So I'm not going to say anything because nobody's going to tell me that I can't worship God and talk about his glory and his wonderful creation and his wonderful design and everything and the grace that he has shown me in every aspect of my life. The angel that I have for a wife. I mean, this is my homepage. Angel, okay? He blessed me with that angel. He blessed me with my children, my grandchildren, with my life, with friends, and the hardship that he had shown me through other times. That made me stronger. It made me deal with things. I see that it is um, made me the man I am today, and I am humble. Please, very very humble that he has shown me such grace and such love. And like I said, when I died and I reached up and I finally touched his light and power, that's all I felt was love. To which that I every single love that I felt, my wife hugging me, my dog, my kids, any it all comes from him. That's the source of that love. The way to hell that I was feeling and all those emotions below me as I was going up, all bad, and that's all it is. But only one thing from God was just unbelievable, overpowering, incredible love. And he loves you so much. You just can't. I I still can't comprehend that love. And he loves you. Eh, So don't think you're never not worthy. That's Satan. Don't think that you're never worthy of forgiveness. No, he is your father, and he's trying to teach you through these lessons. And will always be there to pick you up when you fall. And you can't fall too many times. He's There's only one God, and I am so thankful that he created me. Anyway, God bless you all. Thank you for showing up here. Thank you for indulging me for the past hour and 45 minutes. And remember, I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you out of pure love and out of concern. So may God bless. May the right things happen. And may you all be blessed this weekend. And have a safe 4th of July.